When you do a deep dive is when things get very, very awkward and difficult. The most advanced of our scholars, they're not quite fully certain how to solve all of the unanswered questions in there.
All Muslims who do not believe. Kill all Muslims who do not believe in the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. Just imagine apostate prophet or David would have really made this statement. What? Are they serious? I should be killed because I reject their silly and stupid stories. What did they say? I should be killed because I reject their silly and stupid stories. In an Islamic state there would be capital punishment for you apostate prophet since you reject Allah's words. And I will be watching your execution. You reject Allah's words given to us Muslims. Allah tells them also Solomon had a flying carpet, Koran 34:12. I know you would tell Christian Prince, it does not say that CP. Allah tells them also Solomon met with a talking ant. Till, when they reached the valley of the ants, an ant exclaimed, O ants! Enter your dwellings lest Solomon and his armies crush you, unperceiving. I know you would tell Christian Prince, it does not say that CP. Koran 27:20. He inspected the birds, and noted, why do I not see the hoopoe? Why is he missing? According to Allah, this bird was also in the army of Suleiman. I know you would tell Christian Prince, it does not say that CP. And I will be watching your execution. You reject Allah's words given to us Muslims. Other insights Allah shares with those who surrender to His will. Some of His slaves slept for over hundreds of years in one cave. Koran 18:11. We then sealed their ears in the cave for a predetermined number of years. I know you would tell Christian Prince, it does not say that CP. Kill all Muslims who do not believe in the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. Yet Ali Dawah has no problems calling for the death of people who reject the silly stories of Allah, and real research discovered that these are legends lifted from other people. Now let's come to the topic of this video. If there is just one sentence which destroyed Islam for you, which one would that be? For me this one sentence, containing just 5 words, can be found in Koran 18:83-97. But one cannot take it out of context, so here is what leads to this destructive 5-word sentence. Please, Allah, have a seat. Please, Allah, pay attention to this lecture about human history. It will inform us about a time which happened before the event in Koran 1882-97 ever took place.
Well, welcome. My topic today, I'm going to talk about 1177 BC. So let me take you away from rainy Bethesda and take you back more than 3,000 years in the past, where hopefully it's a little warmer and sunnier. This is the Late Bronze Age. This is the period that is, I would say, nearest and dearest to my heart. If I could be reincarnated backwards, I would choose to live back then. I'm sure I would not live more than about 48 hours, but it'd be a good 48 hours. So we're in the period from 1700 till about 1200 BC here, 500 years. And you can see from this map, the different colored areas are the different civilizations that were around at that point. Basically, I call them for shorthand the G8 of the ancient world, because there's actually 9, but never mind. So it's close. So we've got Minoans and Mycenaeans over in Greece. We've got Hittites up in Turkey. We've got the Egyptians, which are coming up here into Canaan. Mitanni here, Assyrians and Babylonians. Cypriots here. These are the great powers of the Late Bronze Age. They're all flourishing 3,500 years ago, give or take. And this is actually a period that you know about. You might not have thought you knew about it, but you do. Because in this time period, we've got Hatshepsut, the world's first female pharaoh. Familiar to anybody? You've all heard of her, right? Tutmosis III, her stepson, Amenhotep III. How about Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh? Right, okay, so he's in this period as well. I'm venturing to guess that most of you have heard of King Tut. Would I be correct about that? Yes, okay, so that's this period as well. Ramses II, pharaoh of the Exodus, if it took place, that's another lecture. Ramses III is going to be our boy today. He's going to be the hero of this particular period. This is also the time when we get the Battle of Kadesh between the Egyptians and the Hittites, 1279. Little thing called the Trojan War. Heard of that? That's at this time period. In fact, this is the context for the Trojan War. I do think it happened. Again, that's a topic for another lecture. My wife does not think it happened. We argue about this at home. Others argue over mortgage payments. We argue about the Trojan War. So, and then again, this is the period of the Exodus, probably about 1250 BC, if it took place. So you see, you already know this period, even if you thought that you did not. Now, one thing that is special about this period is that it is globalized for its time period. That is, it's not globalized like we are today, but from Italy on the west to Iraq and India on the east, they are all in connection with each other. They're all in contact. From Turkey in the north down to Egypt in the south, we get one of these social network diagrams. That's what my wife does, social network analysis. So this is courtesy of her. You know the, what is it, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon with all the movies? Yeah, same thing here, except that this is what's called a small world, which means there are no more than 3 leaps between any 2 pairs or any pair of people. So if the Mycenaeans did not know the Assyrians, they knew the Hittites who knew the Assyrians, and you could get there within 1 or 2 leaps. Now, the reason this is important is that there's been very few times in history where we've had such a situation. Us today is one, them back then is another. So this is why I would say that looking at what happened to these guys, even though it was more than 3,200 years ago, is actually relevant to today, because looking at what happened to them might have implications for us today as well. And what happened? Well, they collapsed. Just after 1200 BC, everything that had been going very nicely for several centuries by this point comes to a crashing halt on either side of 1200 BC. Right?
How would I answer if Mohammed G.S. Hijab asked one kafir like me? If there is just one sentence which destroys Islam for you, which one would that be, and why? Yes, tell him. Koran 18:83-97. It is one in which Allah shows his what? How dare he to say I'm ignorant about human history, geography and metallurgy? What? By the fig is metallurgy. Please Allah tell, in your own words, what happened to the person in Koran 18:83-97. They ask you about Dhul-Qarnayn. Say, I will narrate to you some of his history. We established him in the earth and gave him the means to achieve everything. Then, he pursued one way. Sorry Allah if I interrupt you, but here we already have problems. Never mind that we don't know who Dhul-Qarnayn was. One thing has never changed. Yes, tell him, location has not changed. Allah, this is the location in which your story of 18:83-97 takes place. Sorry, Allah, please carry on. What happened next? Till, when he reached the setting place of the sun, he found it setting in a muddy spring, and found the people thereabout. We said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, either punish or show them kindness. Sorry Allah, but what did you tell Dhul-Qarnayn? Please repeat it. We said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, either punish or show them kindness. Please, Allah, can you at another time explain how did you talk to him? Send Jibreel with your message to Dhul-Qarnayn. Sorry Allah, Please carry on, what happened with him? This became 1889 to 90 in my Koran. Then he pursued another way. Till, when he reached the rising place of the sun, he found it rising on a people for whom we had appointed no shelter therefrom. So Allah, if I get you right, there was a ruler who visited the places where he saw the sun set and where the sun rises. What? Why are you laughing? In my world this can take place. Sorry Allah, this is why I say you are ignorant about geography. But you're lucky we found the 5 words not yet. The most western point and the most eastern points Alexander the Great reached, and the extent of his empire. Sorry Allah, do you want to maintain that these places shown on the map are the places where the sun sets or where the sun rises? This is the second time Alexander the Great was traveling westbound near a body of water. Of course, after all the long years traveling, the Khan was just so confused that he saw the sun set in or near the Caspian Sea, or he never saw a body of water in the daytime, that he was having one optical illusion, as Muslims are trying to explain it, but without using the term optical illusion. Sorry Allah, do you want to maintain that these places shown on the map are the places where the sun sets or where the sun rises? But carry on, what else did take place? I wrote this down as Koran 18, 92-97. He then pursued another way. Till, when he came between the 2 mountains, he found upon their hither side a folk that scarce could understand a saying. They said, O the Khan, lo, Gog and Magog are spoiling the land. So may we pay thee tribute on condition that thou set a barrier between us and them. He said, my Lord has given me great bounties. If you cooperate with me, I will build a dam between you and them. Bring me blocks of iron. Until when he had filled up the space between the 2 mountain sides, he said, blow, until when he had made it as fire, he said, bring me molten brass, which I may pour over it. With the words of Lord Kim. Wow. 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 Yes, the passage Allah just read is the one which shows the utter ignorance of Allah. Precisely. Bring me blocks of iron. Here we have one ruler who met people for the first time, but he knows already some important traits of them. They either have a huge amount of iron blocks ready to be used to build the barrier, or even more amazingly, they have the technological means to process hundreds or thousands tons of iron ore to create blocks of iron for this wall. What is even more amazing is the fact that even though these unknown people, who with the help of the Khan built one wall to protect them against Gog and Magog, yet these people, just like the wall, vanished in thin air. Not entirely correct according to Islam's prophet, who claimed in his time AD 600-632 at the time of his death, the wall stood still. Volume 4, Book 55, number 566. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The prophet said, Allah has made an opening in the wall of the Gog and Magog people like this, and he made with his hand, with the help of his fingers. Sorry Allah, but this is why I wrote that you have no clue about metallurgy. Sorry Allah, molten brass. Allah, are you sure it was not copper or lead? But to be fair to Allah, it were Muslims who changed the material used from tar, copper, brass, lead, and this is Allah's preserved book. Khalifa, bring to me masses of iron. Once he filled the gap between the 2 palisades, he said, blow. Once it was red hot, he said, help me. Pour tar on top of it. Pixel, give me pieces of iron, till, when he had leveled up the gap between the cliffs, he said, blow. Till, when he had made it a fire, he said, bring me molten copper to pour thereon. Surely, bring me blocks of iron. They did so till, when he had filled up the space between the 2 mountain sides, he said. Now blow with your bellows. They blew till, when he had made it red as fire, he said, bring me molten copper, that I may pour it thereon. Yusuf, Ali, bring me blocks of iron. At length, when he had filled up the space between the two steep mountainsides, he said, blow with your bellows. Then, when he had made it red as fire, he said, bring me, that I may pour over it molten lead. Allah, you could sing with melody. Look what they have done to my song Ma. Just replace song with Koran. Don't fret, Allah, this is just one overview why this passage is the worst for you and Islam. You will cry bitter tears when I go into more details about iron, copper, etc., which of course I did in another video. But to be fair to Allah, it were Muslims who changed the material used, from tar, copper, brass, lead, and this is Allah's preserved book. Yet still Muslims are fooling Muslims. Sorry Allah, but now it is time to expose your ignorance of geography. As you already seen on about location, this was one very limited part of the world. The most western point and the most eastern points Alexander the Great reached, and the extent of his empire. Here in green are the 4 mountain passes in the region through which Alexander the Great passed through. They are fairly in the center of his newly established empire, and mostly east to west. If Alexander the Great had built this wall as you describe it on a mountain pass, it would have been one running north to south, and at the northern border of his empire. What? They exposed my ignorance on so many levels. There is no hole large enough to hide all of my lies. So I must order my slaves to kill Kafir.
Here's Ali Dawah telling the apostate prophet that in a state governed by Islamic law, the apostate prophet, and others like him, will be executed.
This is a part of our religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah? There's a reason why there's a capital punishment. Because people like you, little weaklings, who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt. And we're proud of that. Yeah? Capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state. Yeah? Not individuals going and doing it themselves like idiots. Yeah? No. Under an emir, it is done. Yes. And we, you know what? We'll be watching.
Over 1000 grad Celsius hot molten copper was flowing over a wall that was itself up to 600 grad Celsius hot. What the text in Surah 18, 96 to 97 indicates is that after the two-horned ruler was finished with the work, any construction like this was left standing behind. Yet real basic level historical, geography and technical knowledge show that Allah only displayed the knowledge any person of the 7th century in faraway Arabia could have gained. And yet on this knowledge people want to build one just society. Another video will address the political implications of the Islamic State Caliphate, and can it really be the Islamic paradise on earth? What? The lie Allah told you is better than the lie Allah told me. What? Allah lied to all of us. Why should we kill each other? Because Allah lied to both of us. There is only one way to stop the shedding of blood on earth.